What I do now, in addition to being part of other people's groups, I'm really interested and excited about playing with in duet with Robyn Schulkowsky. She's a percussionist, and we've been playing together for a long time and have developed a language together. We have completely different backgrounds musically. She is a contemporary classical musician, if you have to put people in boxes.
Mm.
She's not really in a box, but that's her background. I'm a jazz musician, my background. But the thing that we share is we improvise. We love excellence. We love things that are excellent. And we love people that can play their instruments, that have good sound reproduction, and they care about that kind of stuff. So we share a lot of things and a lot of passions together about music, and we both improvise.
Mm.
Actually, for people who are listening to it, they should know this too, because we just birthed this website. Finally, took time, 63 years old, now I have a website. This is our duo website. Yeah, so you can hear, there's some clips about what we do, and basically the reason I mention it is, number one, that's what I'm involved with now. I bring all of the stuff that we have been talking about. It's really past, it's kind of what I've been doing recently, and it's what I'm thinking about. It's what I'm very focused on currently. And it takes everything that we've talked about up until now. I bring all of my experience. And just like any other situation, I apply it to this. But for this, I find it really interesting for me because it's percussion. It's drums, percussion. There's no marimba.
Okay. I was going to ask.
Yeah. There's no. It's real like drums. It's drum music, but music. It's not based in an ethnic type of focus. It's not based in a party time like, oh, let's just groove out and okay, we can put all this other shit on top of it. Because that's kind of how a lot of percussion type oriented projects, that's what they're about. Or it's just close your eyes and just play free.
Yeah.
I mean, those seem to be the options pretty much, outside of very meticulously crafted contemporary percussion pieces. The idea with us was to just play music that we compose on the spot and think about and shape and then reapproach. And in order to do that, it really requires a heavy listening ability, not only to what the person is playing, but the sound of the instrument. Because with percussion, with drums, most of the time we play in contexts where the information that's really necessary, like in a typical jazz context, where there's harmony moving and people need to hear that information, that takes precedent, and it should, over the ring of the bass drum or the ring of the ride cymbal.
Mm-hmm.
That's partly why I used to, or I still do, tape up my cymbals all the time. I wanted to hear the bass. I didn't want to hear that roar of the cymbal.
Mm.
And I think about, I've heard colleagues or people say throughout the years, yeah, I like to hear the tip of that cymbal, the stick on the cymbal. They don't really care about, is it a K? Does it have that Tony Williams or Art Blakey? Nobody gives a shit about that. They're listening for, in my mind, what are they listening for? The essence is like, where is that pinpoint? Where is that beat?
Yeah.
Okay, so outside of that context, there's nothing to stop the sound. I can tune a drum, I can hit a drum, and the drum actually has an incredible sound. It's very complex. A cymbal is incredibly complex. There's a whole orchestra there, And this is a context where we both get to really bring that, because we spend our lives learning how to harness that in ways that we can work with other people. But there's also an inner language going on too, that because we can have spent so many years, or we spend our lives individually working on figuring this out, that it's really cool to let the sound of the instrument dictate the next move. In other words, the sound of the instrument dictates where the music is going to go, not the ego, the instrument.
Yeah.
It's not better than, it's not like, oh, I don't want to play with other instruments anymore. It's not that. It's just another door opening for me, or it's a possibility that it's like creating an opportunity to present a window through which possibilities exist that other people could maybe look into and say, oh, well, maybe, yeah, maybe drums could be perceived this way, or maybe, yeah, you can do this with a drum.
Yeah.
And because that's not really always possible. And it's really interesting how many people don't really listen on that level. Even colleagues, they within the jazz world, it's just everybody falls into a stereotype, or the drum set.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really fascinating. It completely fascinates me at the melodies or the sonic, the harmonies, not note per se, not to compare it to a B flat or an A flat or G natural or anything like that, but there is sound that happens that creates harmonies that move and that shift, and that we can manipulate in certain ways as the instrument dictates. We did a record. Robyn created these huge instruments called, we call them the bears. They're just these huge wooden boxes that are hollow, and on top of these boxes sit long pieces of wood that have been carved out, kind of like a giant marimba bar. They're big. Some of them are, you'll see on my website, go through the video, there's a clip. We curated a series at Grand Central Station. There's a little clip. Somebody took a movie just from a handheld camera. It's the only documentation I have of it. We put together a team to play these instruments. They're sub-bass frequencies. And do you know Grand Central Station? It's a very big room. It's called Vanderbilt Hall.
Oh, yeah. I've been there, yeah.
We had the whole room, and this clip was taken from a residency Robyn and I had there with the sculptor who helped carve the wood for these instruments. And we had Andrew Cyril Baptista, Kenny Wollesen, Tyson Sori. Robyn and I led this team of playing these things every day. We had 2 concerts a day.
Wow.
And people were missing their trains. Or they're completely missing their train. They were just came by and they stood in the middle and just felt this. And it was all these instruments. It wasn't even a drum set. There were no drums. There were check it out on the website.
I will check it out, definitely.
You can't really hear, but we did a CD called Dinosaur Dances. We put all these instruments in a truck, and we went up to catch a ferry from Kiel, and we went to Norway because the only engineer we could agree on that we both knew was Jan Erik, probably mispronouncing his last name.
Konsauk, I think, but
Konsauk.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyhow, I called him and I asked him, I said, would you be interested in trying to record these? I said, and I described him the instruments, and he said, well, I've never done anything like that, but I sure would. I'd be interested to try. So we knew he was the guy.
Great.
So we just went up on our own and set up and recorded our CD. This was maybe 2002 or 2000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we've been working a long time on playing together and developing a communication together. And it is available. I know Downtown Music, you can get it through them, or it's probably somewhere online. I'm not a business person, neither is Robyn. So we just did it and kind of like sold it when we did gigs and stuff. And they're still around, I think. That one's called Dinosaur Dances, and they're a bunch of very shorter type composition. And just recently, we have the good fortune to share this great practice space, and I wanted to. I had the idea to do a quiet record. I always wanted to do a quiet drum record.
Mm.
So I say, hey, Robyn, why don't we do a quiet duet? Like just record out in the room, no headphones. We didn't use headphones or overdubs on the other one either, but this room has a particular vibe in it the instruments sound good when you play very quiet. So we thought about it, and we called up an engineer, very great engineer, Adrian von Ripko.
Mm-hmm. I don't know him.
He lives in Stuttgart. Excellent guy. He's a real tonemeister. And he came up with a little portable setup, and we just did it here. Mm. And we thought about the music and the composition, and it's a development of what we did on the first one. It's very long pieces. It's really a story, and there's some samples of it. I mean, that you can get quite easily. It just came out. It's on Intact. Mm. It's on the website, or I think you can go to Intact. And, and it was recorded really, really well. And we used Robyn's instruments, which are great. It's her drums, which use natural skins. We didn't have to go out. We had to. Because when you use instruments like that, Robyn has a lot of equipment. I don't have any equipment. So I just used what was here. And Adrian captured the sound that was really happening. I'm pretty proud of it just from that aspect alone, and from, having something in my ear, like make something that's music and not drum, capital DRUM. It is. But the main focus is there's a story here, and it's told musically, and it's using the drums. Robyn and I talk about it all the time, or we do it all the time. We listen to the sound and let the instrument show us where it can go. And if we've got our ego in check, it really works. Mm-hmm. And she has a lot of experience at playing a composer named Christian Wolff.
Mm-hmm. I know there's a piece by Morton Feldman called Christian Wolff in Cambridge.
Ah, okay.
Do you know that piece? It's a choir piece.
I don't know that piece.
I don't know Christian Wolff's music, but I only know that name from that piece. So yeah.
Well, there's again on the website you can hear like a little duet he wrote for us. It's in the video section. Somebody happened to video it, and it's the only time I've been able to really play the piece. It's for me, really difficult. Mm-hmm. But it was happening. It was one of those special moments, and Robyn just flies like a bird. I'm hanging on for dear life, but I made it,
Great.
But to play his music, you really have to listen. It's not just reading his notation. You have to listen to the quality of the sound and the duration of the sound. And Christian, being exposed to him through Robyn, I've learned a lot about, his approach is very democratic. The way he writes music in a way that allows the players to be democratic. Like the players, they have to make the decisions.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's kind of sounds simple to talk about, but to actually meet people that do that are that democratic, and that put it through in the way they write the music, and kind of what they encourage in the people in the ensemble to play. I mean, I've learned so much. That's really not my specialty. It's not my forte at all. But what I've learned through working with Christian and also with Robyn in that context, where you're playing written music, is that openness, to really listen on a deeper level and still make music, but have that from basing from that point. I take that everywhere I go. When I play music in a hard bebop situation. I think that is what you notice maybe with John Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I didn't just learn it with Christian Wolff. It's something that's always been an aesthetic that I've been attracted to and have always nourished, but I really got a shot in the arm upon meeting Robyn and Christian. It fine-tuned that sensibility. And man, it's really fun when I can take that into situations where I'm more used to or more it's more more my expertise, you know. Not that I'm on automatic, but it's just, hey, that's everybody does different things, you know. And,
sure.
but to apply that, it kind of allows me to drop out in the middle of a song.
I've seen you do it.
Yeah, again, it's not premeditated, but I'm listening to the sound and I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ, we've heard piano comping, we've heard horn solo screaming, we've heard another horn solo screaming, and now it's going to be, there's another horn player up to bat.
Yeah.
Man, I'm listening to the sound. This sound is really kind of boring.
Sound is getting old. Yeah.
And I'm also sensing like, is anybody else noticing this in the band?
Right.
And well, they will now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I've seen you do that, and it's quite a moment when you do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, I also learned it from Ron Carter.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Tony does it too on My Funny Valentine. He just drops out for minutes, and you know.
What he doesn't play on that album is worth. That album is a desert island record.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, that to me, that's an encyclopedia. What he does play on that record is, I just think that's one of the greatest examples of some of the greatest ensemble playing ever in the history of music.
Very true.
And you can hear him. I don't know what I would make a good bet on it that he was listening to Edgar Varese.
Yeah.
At that time, because there are these little things. He does these little snare drum statements on My Funny Valentine. Just these little statements that it wasn't an exact quote, but that little snare drum statement that Edgar Varese has in Ionization.
Uh-huh.
I got to play that one time, and I played the snare drum part. And I've heard other people do it, and I would almost bet my bottom buck that he was listening to that at that time.
Yeah. I think Herbie was listening to that. I heard a story about Billy Hart telling Herbie hipped him to Varese. You know.
Oh, really?
So maybe there's a connection there.
Yeah, and also that was, I think, a breakthrough piece. I'm certainly no aficionado on that music, but that was a breakthrough piece. I think that was the first serious percussion piece that wasn't a novelty. You know, every other composer used the percussion section as a novelty, you know, like the timpani pressing the pedal all the way down.
Yeah.
You know, just novelty shit, you know. I think that piece was kind of like the beginning. I kind of found myself, I guess, being really committed from a very early point at trying to use the drum set, I guess, to model it in the deepest way that I can possibly do as a musical instrument, as an instrument capable of making music, not at the expense of a groove and any of the typical functions that is so beautiful. It's great. I mean, the timekeeping function and all of that, not at the expense, but in addition to.
Yeah.
And I think when people think about that, it's like they start comparing it. It's like becomes black and white, you know, it's either this or either that, you know. I just think that's kind of a waste of time, maybe bad habit to do, but I just look at it like it's a road that's not traveled, that I haven't seen traveled so deeply. And I like walking down this road because the road isn't made yet.
Yeah. And
especially with Robyn, like coming at the same journey from different perspectives and doing it together. It's really been really exciting for me. And it's very difficult to get people, lay audiences, colleagues, fellow musicians, or other musicians to accept.
Yeah.
You know, people still have a really fucked up attitude about drums. In 2018, I would have thought that things would be very different, but they aren't.
Mm.
In a way, a lot of ways, things have kind of even gone back. You know, I mean, we were all trained not to listen.
Mm.
So, be that as it may, we like going down this path.
Yeah, and you, in a way, to me, you have always done that. You force, in a very nice way, you force the listener and your musicians to listen by the way you do music, and it has been super inspiring to see that. And
well, thank you, man. Thank you.